Hello and welcome! Today, we're going to dive into something that is, quite literally, the foundation of the entire breastfeeding journey, mastering the latch. It's one of those things that can feel tricky, but trust me, getting it right is a total game changer.
Okay, let's just get right to it and tackle the big one, the question on pretty much every new parent's mind. Is this supposed to hurt? You've probably heard it all, that pain is just part of the process, something you just have to tough out. But is that actually true?
Well, let me just put this myth to rest right now. The answer is a big, resounding no. Pain is not a badge of honor here. Think of it like the check engine light in your car. It's not there to punish you. It's a signal, a little alert telling you that something needs a quick adjustment. It's information, not a requirement for success.
And that idea of making adjustments brings us right into our first section. You know, it's so important to remember that breastfeeding is a skill. It's a learning curve for both of you. I like to think of it as a dance between two people who are just getting to know each other's moves. It takes practice.
Now, here's another huge misconception we need to bust. A lot of people worry that if their baby nurses for a long time, that's what's causing soreness. But the evidence is super clear. The number one cause of nipple pain isn't how long the baby nurses, it's how well they're latched on. A shallow latch is almost always the real culprit. And you know what? That's actually fantastic news, because technique is something we can absolutely fix.
So, what does a good latch even look like? Let's get into the anatomy of it, the real mechanics of why it works, because once you understand the why, making those little adjustments we've been talking about becomes so much easier.
The magic word we're looking for here is an asymmetric latch. So what does that mean? It just means the baby takes in a bigger mouthful of breast from the bottom than from the top. And it makes perfect sense, right? Only the baby's bottom jaw moves up and down. So by getting more tissue in there, the nipple is aimed perfectly toward the roof of their mouth at their soft palate, which keeps it comfortable for you and lets that jaw do its job effectively.
So how can you tell from the outside if you've nailed it? Well, there are some really clear signs to look for. You want to see a big, wide open mouth, not a little pucker. Their lips should be flipped out, kind of like a fish. Their chin should be pressed right into the breast, anchoring them on. And if you see more of your areola above their top lip than below it, that's a great sign of that asymmetric latch. And finally, look at those cheeks. They should be full and rounded, not dimpled.
Because what's happening on the inside is where the real magic is. And the star of the show is the baby's tongue. This is so cool. It's not a simple chewing or chomping motion. The tongue actually moves in this amazing wave-like pattern from front to back, which creates a vacuum, a negative pressure that draws the milk out. It's incredibly powerful and efficient when the latch is nice and deep.
Okay, so knowing what a good latch looks like is one thing, but how in the world do you actually make it happen? Well, this is where we get practical. It all comes down to positioning, getting both you and your baby set up for success from the very start.
Let's break it down into 4 simple steps. First, you get comfortable. Seriously, build a pillow fort around yourself if you have to. A relaxed parent makes for a relaxed baby. Second, bring that baby in close. The mantra is tummy to mummy. Their whole body should be facing you. Third, aim your nipple towards their nose. This little trick encourages them to tilt their head back and open up really wide. And finally, and this is key, be patient. Wait for that big, wide open mouth, like a baby bird, and then bring them in swiftly to the breast.
And of course, there are different holds that can help you do this. The cradle hold is that classic position that works great for many full-term babies. The pro tip here is to support their neck and shoulders, not the back of their head, so they have the freedom to tilt back. But the football hold, oh, this one is a game changer, especially if you're recovering from a C-section or have twins, because it gives you so much more control over the baby's head.
But let's be real, sometimes it just doesn't feel right. And knowing how to spot the signs of a shallow latch is just as important as knowing what the goal is. This is all about you becoming a latch detective and really learning to trust your body and your baby's cues. Let's put them side by side. With a deep, effective latch, you'll hear these soft, deep swallowing sounds. And for you, it should feel comfortable, maybe a tugging sensation, but not pain. But with a shallow latch, you might hear clicking or smacking sounds as the baby keeps losing that vacuum. And for you, it's going to hurt. We're talking pinching, friction, or straight-up pain. And just look at the baby. A baby with a good latch is often sleepy and content afterwards. A baby with a shallow one, often fussy and still seems hungry.
And why does this matter so much? Because this is about way more than just your immediate comfort. A shallow latch can set off a whole domino effect. For the parent, it can lead to nipple damage, and because milk isn't being removed well, it can cause plugged ducts or even mastitis. And over time, your body gets the signal to, well, make less milk. And for the baby, it can mean they're not getting enough food, which can lead to poor weight gain. So it's a really big deal for both of you.
All right, pop quiz time. We've covered the what, the why, and the how-to. So let's put it all together and see how you do with a quick, real-world scenario.
Okay, so meet Alana and her baby Katrina, who is 6 days old. On paper, things look okay, not a lot of weight loss. But Katrina is super fussy every single afternoon, and Alana is getting really frustrated. She's convinced the problem is her, saying, "I just don't have enough milk." I'm sure this story sounds really familiar to a lot of you.
So, with your new Latch detective skills, what do you think is the most likely root cause that Alana should investigate first? Is it A, B, C, or D? Take a second to think about it. If you said C, you are absolutely right. While any of those things could be a factor, the fussiness and Alana's feeling of having low supply are classic, textbook signs that the baby just isn't getting the milk out effectively. The first place to look is always the latch.
And that brings us to what I think is the most powerful takeaway from all of this. That feeling of not having enough milk is very rarely a production problem. More often than not, it's a removal problem. The latch is the key that unlocks the milk that's already there. By focusing on the mechanics, on getting that deep, comfortable asymmetric latch, you're solving the root cause of so many other issues. So just remember, it's usually not about how much milk you have, it's about how well your baby can get it. And that is a problem you can absolutely solve.